So immediately you can see that things are a bit different here in Banished. That's mainly because we have installed the Colonial Charter mod pack. And quite frankly, I think it's a good place to start with modded Banished. It's got enough new stuff that it feels like a whole new game, but it's not what's the best way to describe it? It's like all the mods kind of interact with each other and work together, whereas some other mod packs that we will probably end up trying at some point end up kind of being kind of divergent in their kind of economy system and stuff like that, and you'll kind of see why when I get into this today. So we're going to try Colonial Charter for you today. We are going to go with the medium plus starting conditions. I really like medium plus because it does give you the starting seeds for fields and orchards. I think it's 1 for each as opposed to 2 in a normal medium start, but you do get a herd of livestock, so that's pretty cool, and you can start farming animals as well, which I think is really cool. I'm going to go with I think I'm just going to go with a large map. I don't think we need a very large one. And I've just gone with flat plains. I think flat plains is a lot easier to use. I'm not going to faff around with terraforming in this, for God's sake. And I am going to go with tropical, I think. We could go for a water world or a swamp. There's so many options. I think I'm just going to go with flat plains. It's so much easier. And I randomized the name Slide, so we're going to go with Slide as our town name, which I think is going to be very funny. Well, not very funny, but I don't know. Don't ask me what I'm trying to get at here. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and I will probably record a lot of episodes of this today. So, there we go. So you're going to have to put up with this voice a fair bit. This old raspy, I've hardly talked to anyone this morning besides my cat's voice. So this is the area we've got to work with so far. I actually really like the space. We're close to rivers, which is lovely. We've got this big area over the other side. Only thing I'm kind of concerned about is this area isn't very wooded, but we'll make it work. And it looks like... I can't tell what they are. They're some sort of pigs. Or bison. They're not bison, I can tell you that for a fact. There's something. That's all that matters. But first, I'm going to get myself in something starting here. Should be able to do an 11 by 11 pasture. And then right next to it, I will have an 11 by 11 crop field. And we'll have a farmer on that. We'll get watermelons, because that's what we got. As for the jobs and the menus, we need to get those up. Not the map. The map's not necessary, unfortunately. And we have a lot of options for our professions list now, because there's so many, as you can see. If you've never seen Colonial Charter before, it does bring a heck of a lot of new stuff. New crops, new buildings, new luxuries, new foods, all of it. New homes, all sorts. So, yeah, that's pretty exciting. I'm just going to start this off for now. I think it's going to be very important that we get this pasture done, and then we can see what these animals are. If they look like pigs, but kind of not. Maybe they're, honestly, I don't know. I'm not even going to try. I'm going to look like a stupid person if I suggest something stupid. So, what's the point? And after they've finished with the pasture over there... Oh, we need a builder. That'll be why. It's just sitting there. Fun. I'm actually going to put 2 farmers on the farm this year, because they're not educated, so they won't be able to do this farm on their own. They're normally pretty good at doing it on their own once there's oh, they're pigs. They are pigs. A part of me thought they were pigs, but then I disagreed with myself, so you know, always useful. I think instead of building individual houses for now, we might try a boarding house. So that's a town lodging. That's an old boarding house. That was 9025, and that's 9025. Same capacity as a regular boarding house. I kind of like the idea of having this old one, actually. Make it look all decrepit and like we're just starting off. Because we are just starting off, and I don't see why we can't make it look that way. But next up, we are gonna need firewood and stuff, aren't we? It's not gonna be too much of a problem while they don't have a house of their own, but still pretty useful to get one going as soon as. Let's get another stockpile in for these guys, because that's seemingly not good right now. There we go. And we are harvesting our melons, which is a good start for sure. I think we'll have fishing and trading on this edge here, so I think expanding downwards would be a good plan. So I might just lay the road down as a starting point, like so. The new boarding house is up and everyone is in there. We are at, I think we might be at capacity there. Have they just taken the whole... Yeah, they've just taken all our supplies. Okay, interesting to know. Well, I think what I will do then is there is a button here that says collect wild foods, which is a nice helpful one, and it will just go around the area and select up all like the mushrooms and the little wild onions and stuff like that you can get, and that will be something that our labourers can do until the spring, when I will add another pasture, I think. I like the idea of going a bit more in depth with the whole livestock, because we normally go crop fields and I want to do a good mix. I think that would be cool, because there's a lot you can do with both. So I'll be happy to see that happen when it... Oh, I just put them next to each other. That's not what I wanted. Genius. There's meant to be a space between them. Because for some reason the exports of the pasture have to sit on the side there. Not the logs and the iron and stuff. I don't know why that's there. But regardless. Right, so it should be almost time for them to carry on with their working. And we're out of space again. You know what, I'm actually fine just making a bunch of stockpiles here. Doesn't bother me one bit. Because it just means that we have enough stuff that we can start doing things like getting in a sawmill. Now, a sawmill will make firewood, and you can, I think, put up to 3 people in there, so it makes firewood quite quickly in comparison to a normal woodcutter. But it also has the opportunity for you to make a new resource called lumber. Lumber is fantastic for... Oh, we've got one spare over there. Can we split this? Are we... We're not able to split that. That's a shame. So that population ain't going to grow, quite frankly. Oh well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe they just keep that one cow for ages. Yeah, lumber is used for a lot of intermediate builds, I'll say, in this mod pack. There's a few different levels of building supplies that you kind of have to get round to. And lumber is one of the starting ones. You want to get past your wood and your stone, you move on to lumber. And there's a lot of buildings that will use it. But we are going to stick to firewood for now. We don't need any more than that. And then maybe if we hit our limit for fuel, which I'm going to up to 300. If we meet that, then I might switch to lumber so we have some in stock for when we want to expand and start educating our people. I've decided to build a couple of cemeteries back here because I kind of like the idea of having cemeteries from day one for the sake of remembrance. I had never put in cemeteries. They're in the vanilla game. I just never use them. So I thought, why not make today the day I do it? It might be quite nice to have that level of remembrance. Yeah, I just think it would be nice. And then, obviously, worship is a thing that can be quite important to people, make them happier, you know. In fact, they're quite happy and healthy right now, and I'm actually shocked by it. We could put a chapel in. We could put a little tiny parish house in if we really wanted to. Or a little seafarer shrine. How cute. But yeah, we'll just stick with cemeteries for now. So they can have 35 graves each, which is probably going to set us going for a long time, so no need to be worrying about that. This guy is making bone meal, liver, and pork now. I really wish I could just split that. That would just be really nice. But that's just a pain. Maybe if I put in another one. Yeah, we'll put in another one for now. And I also want to get ourselves the fishing going. And we'll have fishing dock just on this river here. Nicely does it. So we've reached our limit on firewood, so we are gonna get a bit of lumber going. I just think it'll be very useful. Not too much, because otherwise we will use up our supply of wood before we've even had a chance to build houses for our people. So that won't be good, but we can for sure get a little bit of lumber going. And that is stored under construction, which is this item here. I'm actually going to limit it to 200 for now, because I realised that this is the only thing that counts as construction that we are making so far, so I can just limit it like that. Later in the game, if you want to limit the amount of items you have in like a certain like set, it becomes a little bit difficult, but for now we should be fine. I wonder if we can we empty that and that might split it? No, that's now empty. Can we split? No. Why won't it let you split? Maybe if we cull the population to 6, we can empty it into the... Maybe if we take this one off work and we empty it, it'll go into there. Will it not? Oh, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Well, at the end of the day, we've already got this lot. And there's not going to be more than one person, more than one pig in there. Not unless we can trade for some, which I highly doubt for a while. Although, speaking of which, we now have lumber, which means we could get ourselves a dedicated, smaller supplier. So we can have the industry one, dry goods, food, but we are definitely going to go for farm. Because that's what we're about. And we do have 122 lumber, so that should get fulfilled quite quickly. Next up, we're going to build a blacksmith, because I'm noticing people around with no tools, which is a bit of a problem. So I'm going to scoot that up here. Hopefully that'll be up and running quickly enough. Fingers crossed. And then after that, I think I'm going to build a schoolhouse. I'm going to choose this one. The one-room schoolhouse. It has a bit more opportunity for upgrading it later on, which is something that becomes very, very useful, for sure, in this mod pack. You saw it a bit in the original game with upgrading to stone houses, but it has become a lot more of a feature in this particular mod pack, so that's really exciting. Okay, somehow a child pig was born on this pasture. I can't quite explain to you how. Unfortunately, that's quite frankly very strange. I'm kind of hoping that you don't need to split pastures and you can just move any offspring into the next one. That would be useful, but I don't know how it works, quite frankly, so I'm not gonna pretend I do. Are we nearly there on this stone? Because I would really like it if we could just build this blacksmith so these guys have tools. That would be really, really nice, game. Are we going to have our builders prioritize this, please? It's going to take them forever to build it because there is no tools. I really should have thought about this sooner. I was just so busy in my own little world about, oh, this and this and this and this and this. That's the thing about Banished. There's so much you do at the beginning that it's difficult to do it all right, if that makes sense. So, it's very unfortunate, but we are going to get there very slowly by the looks of things on this here build. These toolless guys are just real struggle. And they were halfway done on this farm supply, but I'm not devoted to getting that up really quickly. In fact, I might pause it and then have the schoolhouse build sooner. I probably should have thought of that beforehand. Look, I'm not the greatest at these management games. I just have fun playing them, so if you have criticism, then so be it. I'm not gonna... Yeah, I'm not gonna... I don't care. Just, unfortunately. Thank God we finally got a blacksmith. So we're gonna make rough tools to begin with. Rough tools use iron ore instead of iron. That's something I really should have mentioned earlier. We don't just dig up iron from the ground. We actually have to refine the ore, as opposed to what we had in the base game. So that's something to note. Hopefully this blacksmith guy will be quick and make a bunch of tools nice and swiftly, because we do have enough iron ore that we should make them really well. So that's our hope here. The schoolhouse is coming along nicely too. I want to get that up kind of quickly because I don't like our people being uneducated. It just doesn't really work. So we are gonna swap back over to firewood. Not that they actually need firewood right now. They are fully stocked up on firewood. At which point, I guess they'll just do some labouring. I guess. We are low on tools. That is correct, game. But we are working it back up because we have just made 30. So I think everybody should have a tool at this point, bar one, who will probably just about get one in a second. And we will get a teacher in so that we can start educating our people. But as you can see here, there is fun, new, exciting building materials needed to upgrade these things. Now, that first one, the one you need 55 of, that's next to the stone, that's lumber. So we've already got that taken care of. The second one along is something called a building supply, I believe. There is a list of items here. If we scroll down to wherever. Building, it's alphabetical, I shouldn't have gone that far down. Building supplies, yes. This is something that requires a lot of refined resources. You have a choice of which ones you use. Sometimes you can use things like glass and bricks, or you can use joists, which you can smelt out of iron ore. It really depends on what you're doing, but we will definitely start up a sort of mining operation very soon. We're going to have a slightly late harvest of watermelons here. It's late spring and I've just started this up, but we were having food issues already, so I think it's probably for the best. And I mean, it gives us something to trade with when the time comes. I'm going to dedicate another herdsman to this pasture to see what happens with these pigs, whether they overflow or whether, because this one had one, we just worked it out. Because it'll be interesting to know in terms of trade later on whether I can just buy one of an animal as opposed to two, which I normally do. So, fun experiment for you. Although, it's not going to be easy to tell. Oh, yes it is. I don't know what I was saying. If it gets one, then it means they overflow. If it doesn't get one, it means you needed to start with one. That's my answer. I don't know why I was so confused then. That was very strange. We are at our limit on tools. No, we're not. We're going to raise that. In fact, I'm going to raise it up to 450 because in the early days of trading, we can probably trade with some iron tools while we don't have anything better. Another thing I like to trade with is candles, which we can make by getting an apiary. It's a pretty slow process. Apiaries take a while to collect beeswax, but they also collect honey, which is a food source, which is why I like using them. So we have an additional food source as well as something that we would refine as a luxury resource. And then we can put the chant. Of course it doesn't work out neatly. Does it work out neatly that way? No, of course it doesn't. Why would it work out nicely anyway? So we're going to put that next to the school. But yeah, having the apiary and the chandler will be quite a nice little resource to trade with. Because as you can see... Oh, I didn't give these guys any trade. I'll give them 20 tools for now. They're valued at 2 each, which is not very much more than an item of food is. So the sooner we can get candles, the sooner things will be better. Lumber's also a good one, which is 4, but I don't like using wood resources for the sake of trading, because in the later game it's much harder to come by wood, as I'm sure you will all know. But anyway, guys, I think I am going to leave it there for the day. I realised that I have been nattering on for a very long time, so yeah, just gonna leave it here. Thank you all ever so much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you next time.